Hello, Cyberlinks. Real quick, I would just like to quickly apologize that this week's episode of the podcast of Console Confessions is not going up live. I do apologize, but I am spending the holidays with my family. Can't live stream right now, so I do apologize. That being said, though, I still wanted to bring you guys this week's episode as, despite the fact that it was Thanksgiving here in the United States, still had some pretty big and important information coming out in regards to some kind of interesting topics. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's get straight into the video. Here we go. So, and a follow up from a conversation that we had last week, Sony's plan to acquire From Software's parent company may have hit a snag. Now, for those who don't know, From Software, their parent company, Karakawa, is a very big company. From Software has produced many of the Souls-like games like Bloodborne, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, um, among other kind of games like this. But they also have a very big anime division. And for anyone who didn't tune into last week's episode that may not know, I basically raised concerns not from the gaming side. I was taking a different approach than a lot of other YouTubers. A lot of other YouTubers were coming out and saying that, like, oh, this is going to be the end for Souls like games to be on PC or on Xbox. And I was like, they're they're already kind of not on those platforms, slash they come to those platforms at a later date. I really don't care from that perspective. I care more from the side of the anime, because From Software does make a lot of anime. Ones that come off to the top of my head are like Shield Hero, that are very popular, that get a lot of attention. And if Sony was going to own them, they were only going to be producing them on Crunchyroll, which had concerns because right now we only really have Crunchyroll for our anime. To a lesser degree, we have High Dive. Excuse me. But the problem comes into play that there's no competition. Sony can really do whatever they want, and it kind of hurts the anime community. Um, so when I heard about this, I was actually kind of surprised and kind of happy. So basically, Sony, coming in from Game Rant, Sony's plan to acquire From Software's parent company may have hit a snag. As I Oh god, Command plus, no, Option plus. Control. What is the command? There we go. Okay, sorry, I had to zoom in a little. I took a bunch of screenshots. Oh, that's what the I took a bunch of. Oh, sweet Jesus! I took a I took a bunch of screenshots. I didn't realize the window I had active wasn't my browser. Um, basically, Sony's supposed plan to acquire Katakawa may be hindered by the high cost of the deal. Katakawa would only consider a complete buyout by Sony, including all anime and gaming assets. Sony might face competition in a bidding war for Katakawa, potentially driving up the price beyond its reach. I don't know who they're talking about. Haven't read much of this article. I don't know who they're talking about that would possibly buy them out, but I'm very curious to see who would be interested in buying them. Here in their article, they say Sony may have hit a speed bump in its supposed plans to acquire From Software parent company Katakawa, and it has to do with how expensive this purchase would be. Earlier this month, rumors started to spread that Sony looked to buy Katakawa. Katakawa has also ventured into other media, like anime, which Sony has recently gained a foothold in thanks to its purchase of Crunchyroll and Funimation in recent years. For those who aren't into the anime scene, that don't know what's going on, back in 2016, I believe, Sony bought Funimation and would later buy Crunchyroll in, I think it was 2020, 2021. I'm like 90% positive it was during the pandemic. And they eventually closed Funimation and merged those assets into Crunchyroll because of me. Um, so when they say that they bought Crunchyroll and Funimation, they did, but only one platform is active now. Sony already has a 2% stock in Kadokawa and 14% in From Software. And From Software developed titles like Bloodborne and especially Elden Ring. I think that's where people are getting the most like concerned about this with. Um, and especially Elden Ring have traditionally performed well for PlayStation. Since the rumors of this acquisition first started, there has been speculation among the gaming community about the ramifications it would have on the industry, especially since Kadokawa also owns other studios like RPG Studios, Spike Software, and Danganronpa Developer Acquire. I love how they say Danganronpa Developer Acquire, like it's the only thing that they're known for. Most recent reports have indicated that Kawakawa would only be interested in a deal with Sony if it was a complete buyout, all anime and gaming assets included. This might prove to be complicated for Sony, at least according to Japanese finance outlet Toyo Keizai from Automaton. The cost of purchasing all of Kadokawa assets would be upwards of 640 billion yen, which is approximately 4.3 billion dollars, which might be too steep of a price for Sony in the wake of the recent investments in its 2022 buyout of Bungie. Yeah, Sony, how's that Bungie buyout going for you? What have you gotten from? Uh, they continue here. Buying from Software's parent company might be too expensive for Sony. There is also a possibility that Sony's hypothetical attempt to buy Kadokawa would trigger a bidding war, which could drive up the price even further. Earlier this year, Sony Group stated that it was planning to allocate 1.8 trillion yen, or roughly $12 trillion, for investments and share repurchases, but this could already be stretched thin due to other purchases like music rights. For example, Sony Music spent around 1.27 billion to acquire Queen's song library back in June. If Sony really does want to acquire Kadokawa's subsidiaries like From Software, it might attempt to do so by buying 15% of the company's shares to turn it into an equity method affiliate, or 50% to make it a subsidiary that they don't fully own. Only time will tell how this plays out, even as the industry insiders and outside observers alike speculate on the long term impact that Sony purchasing Kadokawa would leave on the gaming, anime, and television. Kind of going in the direction of what I said last week, I'm not super concerned about this. For anyone who may be concerned about this, I really don't know that this is going to have a lot of foothold. I don't think another gaming company is going to go and try and buy Kadokawa. I think you need one of your big three that really have a lot of money and have an interest in those games to want to step in and buy them. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, Microsoft is not going to be doing any of that for the foreseeable future with their acquisition. God, say that 5 times fast. I don't think with that acquisition that they did that there will really be anything that you can gain from Microsoft trying to buy someone out. I could foresee Nintendo possibly trying to buy them out, but at the same time, Nintendo that we're talking about, so I don't know. Like I said, I'm still more concerned about it from the anime perspective, with how many Souls-like games were exclusive to PlayStation already. I think it's just further cementing that those would stay exclusive and not go to Xbox or PC. Um, so yeah, no, I reiterating kind of some of the previous points that I made, but I just wanted to let you guys know that it looks like it's already hitting a snag, unironically enough. So, with that out of the way, we will move on to I need to get like a transition shit. GameStop is leaving one major company. This is a really short topic, but I wanted to let some of my European viewers know. Coming in from Game Rant, GameStop basically, motherfucker, I hate ads. Ads are the death of me. Ads are the death of me. Um, GameStop is permanently leaving Germany, reducing its EU presence. There's really not much to say about this. I just saw it and thought it was interesting. Basically, GameStop is seeing the writing is on the wall already, but it's kind of becoming an increasing issue. GameStop really is only a physical media company. They don't have a digital presence. Excuse me. So, with the death of physical media continuing on again for the next year, it's kind of foreseeable that GameStop would start to pull out of smaller countries, countries where they never really had a big presence. For those who don't know, GameStop is also another name. I totally forgot what the name. They go by a different name in Europe and parts of Canada. Um, so yeah, no, unfortunately, they'll be shutting down permanently. If you are from Germany and you are looking for somewhere else to buy your games, at this point, your best recommendation that I could give, start looking at your mom and pop shops. So sad as it may be, probably for the best considering GameStop's reputation. So, with that out of the way, next topic. Australia bans social media for under 16. 16. Basically, if you're under the age of 16, tech companies have a year to figure out how to keep children off of their platform or risk paying fines. Oh god, I need it. Zoom, 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 zoom. Australia has voted into law a social media ban for children under the age of 16. The legislation was approved by the Australian lawmakers on Thursday with the aim of protecting the mental health of children online despite opposition from tech companies who claim the rules are unworkable. The new law is scheduled to come into effect in 12 months, giving social media companies time to meet the requirements. These include taking responsible steps to preventing children who have not reached a minimum age for having accounts. Children who violate these upcoming restrictions won't face punishment, nor will their parents. The responsibility lies entirely with platform providers. Now, and we'll get further into like what they're dictating here, like a social media platform, because the waters get a little murky. The one thing that I can say with this that I don't like is I don't like how Australia is pretty much saying the responsibility is only on the tech companies. I feel like they're opening themselves up for a lot of issues if a 10-year-old can get onto like Facebook or like Instagram. They shouldn't be on those platforms at those age. I don't also like the fact that it's 16. I think that if you're responsible, you could probably be on social media at like 15. But I feel like there needs to be some responsibility on the child, and you can't tell tech companies everything is on you and just expect them to say, yeah, no, totally have to bear all the responsibility for all of these hundreds of thousands of kids. And I think you might see a worst case scenario that maybe some companies pull out of Australia, which is not unheard of. But let's get further into the article here. We want quote, we want Australia children to have a childhood and we want parents to know that the government is in their corner, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said in a statement earlier this month. Quote, we know some kids will find workarounds, but we're sending a message to social media companies to clean up their act. Here's the problem. You shouldn't just be telling social media companies to clean up their act. You should be telling kids you shouldn't be on the platform. You shouldn't be on your Facebook. You shouldn't be on your Twitter. Not safe. But because you're focusing entirely on tech companies and the platforms that they run, you're leaving yourself very vulnerable to many angry parents and kids. While specific platforms haven't been named into law, the rules are expected to apply to the likes of Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok per the Prime Minister. Sites used for education, including YouTube, would be exempt, as are messaging apps like WhatsApp. So my counter question is, what about platforms like Twitch? What about platforms like Twitter? Obviously they're not saying some of these platforms, but some platforms that our social media people, for better or for worse, do use for news. How do you draw the line in what's allowed and what's not allowed? The legislation doesn't specify how tech companies will enforce the new age restrictions, but those that fail to do so will face fines up to 50 million Australian dollars, about 32.4 million US dollars. The law does not require users to upload government IDs as part of the verification process. I'm guaranteeing right now it does not require, but that's probably going to be the way that most of these companies just go. They'll make you take a picture of your ID, or they'll make you enter in like your driver's license number, something or whatever. I've never seen an Australian ID, so I can't really give too much information on what their IDs look like. But that's probably going to be the way that these tech companies, if they agree and go with the restrictions, that's probably how they're going to go. A YouGov survey released on Tuesday found that 77% of Australians support the measures. I would love to see the polling statistics on that. Similar proposals to higher age restrictions on social media sites have also been explored in Norway and in Florida, one of the states in the United States, with the latter currently being challenged over free speech concerns. Free speech does not matter in this context. Florida. Meta criticized the bill when it was introduced into the Australian Parliament last week, calling it an inconsistent and ineffective. The company urged the Australian government to delay passing the legislation, citing uncertainty surrounding the quote unquote reasonable steps that needed to be taken place for impacted platforms to enforce it. X owner Elon Musk has also slammed the law, alleging that it seems like a backdoor way to control access to the internet by the Australians. Most tech companies are really just getting upset with this because it's additional rules and regulations that they have to adhere to. Stereotypically, companies do not like putting in more effort for the same amount of work to be outputted, so they want to put in as little effort as they theoretically can, which is understandable, but also at the same time really stupid. Excuse me. So I'm interested to see where this goes. I don't think many other countries and states here in the U.S. will back what's going, but I'm very curious to see where it does end up going, if this causes issues and if we start seeing social media platforms being banned. So I'm very curious to hear what you guys have for thoughts on that. So if you guys would like to leave a comment down below, maybe you're from Australia and you can help fill me in a little bit about what's going on with this law, I would actually greatly appreciate it. So yeah, our final topic for today is actually a two-parter that I want to give a little bit of warning to. For those who don't know, Elon Musk has become a very interesting man over the last, I don't know what, 10 years. Really since he founded Tesla, in that he kind of fucked up a lot of shit and he's made a lot of people hate him. Most recently, he acquired Twitter. Yes, Elon Musk, not X. Twitter. It will always be Twitter. You cannot make me change what I call Twitter, so fuck off. But recently there's been some conversations that he might start delving into gaming. Coming in from Forbes. Elon Musk says that he'll make an AI game studio to make games great again. Motherfuckers. Motherfuckers. Oh my god. Royally hate how the entire tech industry, and I say this as someone who has an interest in technology, I say this as someone who wants technology to advance. I would love for AI to become an interesting, important conversation. The love of fucking Christ, stop making everything about fucking AI. It does not work. There's use cases for it, but then there's instances like game development that don't need it. There's nothing wrong. What we have wrong in the gaming studio or gaming space right now is game studios being lazy, rushed pieces of crap that would rather put out garbage than letting their developers take the time and just make a good game. What do you think that you're going to get from AI for the next 20 years? It's going to be the same shit that just does not make any sense. For those who don't know, no one really does AI games. Or why? Could it be because they don't work? Because they're clones of other games? I don't know. Um, we'll we'll read a little into this as I calm down because I am very angry with this man. He's gone from being possibly a role model that I had as a child to I really would like for you not to be involved in politics, especially here in the States. Um, Coming in from Forbes, Elon Musk has recently inserted himself into gaming culture wars, bemoaning what he and others believe are quote unquote woke portions of the market. Now, Elon, a gamer himself, he's not a gamer. He's not. Just because he played one game does not immediately make him a gamer. To be a gamer, you have to play games, to enjoy games, and do it consistently. If my mom plays one game and she plays Mario Kart for an hour, she's not immediately a gamer. She's got to actually enjoy gaming and do it consistently as her hobby, even if it's just a mobile phone. He's not a gamer. Um, where were we? Elon, and now Elon says that he's starting his own AI-based game studio with XAI to make games great again. A quote tweet of a follower saying that developers and game journalists have been ideologically captured. Too many games, and this is his tweet himself. Too many game studios that are owned by massive corporations. At XAI is going to start an AI game studio to make great games again. And this is in direct quote. I don't understand how game developers and game journalism got so ideologically captured. Gamers have always been trolls, anti-greedy corporations, anti-BS. Gamers have always rejected dumb, manipulative BS and can tell when someone is an outside poser. Why lean into the BS? Now, because this channel is, as best as I try, anti-politics, we don't talk about politics. Politics are not allowed in normal discussions. I will try and skirt that as best as I can, not talk about politics while also covering this topic. To this gentleman, what you need to keep in mind is you ultimately, we need to vote with our wallets, like we've always been told to, and like we always tell other people, we need to vote with our wallets and not buy games that have those ideologies put in them, because that's not what gaming is supposed to be about. There's a way to be inclusive without allowing some of the forced narrative that some people put on us in regards to politics. So yeah, that's all I'll say on direct quote for that tweet. This of course raises many questions about the viability of such a project, even with Musk's vast resources. He has no resources. He's broke. He owes banks money. Despite his accomplishments, what accomplishments? Many of his predictions and ideas don't exactly come to pass. His past claims that everyone would soon be able to use X like a banking app, for instance, comes to mind. Yeah, he said X would become a town hall, like Twitter wasn't already a town hall. And what can you do on X now that like you couldn't do a year ago? You can post videos that are just in everyone's tweet feed, and that's it. What exactly an AI game studio consists of is unclear, given that yes, AI has certainly taken off in many fields, but it has been rejected for widespread use in gaming, and even hints at of it in gaming or game art or storytelling have been roundly rejected by both players and the developers themselves. Right, because it doesn't belong in gaming. It also doesn't belong in half of the instances like art generation that we use. A central question would also be how many game developers would want to head over to an Elon run AI centric game studio. My guess is probably very few. The central premise here is odd, where he laments that too many game studios are owned by massive corporations. Musk himself is the richest man in the world. Yeah. He's not. He's not. XAI raised 6 billion in Series B funding and may be valued at 40 billion. Electronic Arts market cap is 43 billion. For comparison's sake, by definition, an XAI game studio would be run by a massive corporation. Yeah, and I'll reiterate what Forbes is saying here. Here's the thing. Look at any AI startup, and unless you have a company shoveling money into the project, they start to lose funding and lose interest because AI is the most overhyped piece of bullcrap that has ever been told to customers and everyday people. It doesn't matter. If you want to make a game studio, make an indie game studio, make a really successful game studio like everyone else does. There's so many games. The Ink Machine, one of my favorite indie games that I've been playing through recently. I love that game. It's not made by Capcom. It's not made by Nintendo. It's not made by Sony. Just make an AI game studio. People don't want you in the gaming industry. I mean, Amazon's got their own Amazon game studios and they're making their own game. They're an indie platform. Yet they're it's weird to think Amazon is an indie game platform. But it is true. They are indie game. And then when you go on top of that, talk about the next topic that we have here from Game Rant, where Elon Musk suggests that he might buy Hasbro. I don't know what you fucking expect. Elon, you are not a smart piece of crap. You're a dumb piece of crap. Stop trying to do shit that you're not meant to be in. You're in electric cars, you're in solar panels, you're in space exploration, you're into politics, you're into the whatever you want to call where you're burrowing through the ground. You're in too many areas for any of them to succeed well. And I think ultimately, side conversation, I think that's ultimately why Tesla sales are doing. Um with this topic on the whole Hasbro buyout, ultimately he wants to own. Don't under what does owning D&D get you? Um oh, add one away. Yay. Uh Elon Musk may pursue a Hasbro acquisition. Elon Musk has recently been critical of some comments in the quote unquote making of D&D 40th anniversary book, inquired about Hasbro's values on Twitter. Purchasing Hasbro would grant Musk ownership of the IPs like Dungeons and Dragons, Transformers, Monopoly, and a recent tweet from Elon Musk may allude to the controversial billionaire potentially acquiring entertainment powerhouse. This tease comes just days after Musk announced his intentions to build an AI game studio, and if successful, a Hasbro purchase would grant him ownership of the iconic franchises like Dungeons and Dragons, Transformers, and Magic the Gathering. Although Elon Musk holds high ranking roles across Twitter, SpaceX, Tesla, and the various in the U.S. government. God, that makes me cringe saying. The billionaire's penchant for video games is well documented. Earlier this month, it was revealed that Musk is one of the top ranked Diablo 4 players worldwide, charting. I have a hard time reading this. Charting at an impressive 19th place. Musk also takes to Twitter occasionally to comment on new developments in the game industry. Some of Musk's opinions stir up controversy as well, like his quote DEI kills art remark about Ubisoft's upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadow. This is a really hard conversation for me to get into, and frankly, I really don't have a whole lot to say on this. Ultimately, part of the this is a hard conversation to have when you don't want to touch a certain topic, which is DEI, because it brings so much toxicity, and I don't want that kind of toxicity in my community. Um, I get annoyed with some people that have an issue with representation in games, and I guess this could probably become its own conversation in like a dedicated video if I tried really hard. I get upset with people that get upset about the whole DEI conversation because ultimately, what does it hurt you? If someone's better represented in a video game, what does it hurt you? If someone wants to play as a certain gender or a certain sex or a certain body type, what does it hurt you? Why do you give a crap? I don't give a crap. I don't play a game not because of quote unquote DEI killing art. I don't play a game if I don't find it interesting. I'm not going to touch Dragon Age because I've never liked the Dragon Age franchise. I don't like it. It's not my kind of game. Not because I have something against the openness for more character customization. That's not what ultimately I'm trying to get at. You know, when you have a game, when you have something that forces people to play as a certain way or play it in a certain way or whatever, that I can understand people getting upset about. But if you have a problem with the narrative that a game developer is pushing, just don't fucking touch the game. My God. Why do you need to make it so well known to everyone on the internet that you have an issue? I don't give a shit. Half of the entire country, half of the entire world does not give a shit. Or if we do, we're still going to buy the game or we just won't buy the game. It's not like your opinion matters. It doesn't. It's just your opinion. Stop trying to force it on other people, which is what some of these critics will say. But at the same time, have you ever played a game with these agendas that oftentimes Republicans say are in media? Do you ever walk away coming from a conversation thinking like, yeah, they just offended me? No, that's not the case. So stop getting upset about this shit. If you want to buy Hasbro because you want to do something good for the community and give us a good Transformers movie, bring us back to the basics, and maybe give us a new Dungeons and Dragons movie. Guess what? I loved Dungeons and I loved the movie. I thought it was amazing. Not everyone loved it. Okay. I disagree, but you know what? I'm going about my day fine. I'm not offended. And saying on I don't know. I don't like the man anymore. He's done so many stupid things that oh, I ultimately if you believe what people say that he is one of the richest. You know what? Fourth wall breaking. Let's see. How much is according to Wikipedia, $323.2 billion, which I have high doubts about. I guess it's also on 4. That's also this. Uh, I guess the next most expensive person is Larry Ellison from Oracle, valued at $226.9 billion, with Jeff Bezos coming in at $223.3 billion, and Mark Zuckerberg at $1.7 billion. Ultimately, I don't believe that. I think a lot of that is just overhype and overfaith in a man that doesn't know what he's doing. So, uh, I'm gonna stop that conversation there before it gets too political. I don't want today's episode to be nothing but politics. Um, so I apologize if you wanted to talk more about that. That might be a separate video, or that might be a live stream later down the lines. Um, so yeah, again, I do apologize that today's episode was a pre-recorded video. I know, and I also know that this is later than it's supposed to, but I did want to spend time with my family this weekend. This is the first time I'm getting like a proper week off where I didn't do anything since back in May when I was out in California for a week. So I'm spending some time with family. We just had Thanksgiving and really, really, really good food. So yeah, we will be back to streaming sometime later this week. Next week's podcast episode will be going up live. I'm going to see if Charlie can also join me for that episode, so that we can have someone else to bounce some topics off of. So yeah, if you guys liked today's video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to tell YouTube that you want to see more videos. If you didn't, though, by all means, hit the dislike button. I don't give a shit. Tell me that you don't like it. It helps me know for the future. If you have any on any of the topics that we covered, or if you have me talk more in depth about something, please let me know down in the description down below, or down in the comments down below. If you're from Australia by any chance, you could tell me more about what's going on with this social media stuff. Please also give me information. I would love to know more about how this is going to happen. Um, and yeah, I you guys next time I'm live. Goodbye.